Hi everyone, welcome to Movie Club, and we're chatting about 2022's The Invitation, which I didn't know anything about, and interesting. Yes, so let me add everybody in, and then we'll see. Well, I can't wait to see what Emma, Kat, and Josh think. Josh in. Hi guys. Right, just add Josh in, and then not John, Josh. Hi Emma. Can you see me? Can you see me today?
To see you.
Yay! Oh no, so who's not going to be able to? Hi Josh.
Hello.
Hello. Can you see me?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
hang
can
on.
see everyone.
Have we got a full house? I've just added Cat.
Oh,
Can everyone see each other?
Well, uh,
Hi,
Hi,
Kat.
hello.
everybody.
Hi.
Oh, can you see me as well?
I can.
Yay!
We fixed the
It's a
glitch.
miracle.
Well done.
Well done, Kat.
Yeah. Yeah. Round of applause. We must have fixed it somehow, but we don't know how. But anyway. Thanks for joining me, guys. So we're going to be chatting about The Invitation from
Mm.
2022, which seemed to have passed me by when it came out. So maybe for a reason. But yes, you are cordially invited to a nightmare. Generations in the making is the tagline of this one. So we have brilliant guests. Well, I will formally introduce the guests this evening. So we have Lord Joshua Winning,
Oh,
and I should be doing that, shouldn't I? Well, that looks like I'm
Oh,
smoking,
yeah.
but
I did think that looked like there was smoking when you
yeah,
did that.
I couldn't quite
Cat
but
Butcher.
yeah, that's it. I should have put the earrings in. So yes, we have Lord Joshua Winnings. Some call her a lady, Emma Puller. No, a lady Emma Puller. And Madame Cat
Ooh.
Ellis joining us this evening. So The Invitation is a 2022 American horror thriller film, we'll call it. Try not to give too much away at this point. Directed by Jessica M. Thompson and written by Blair Butler, and it stars Nathalie Emmanuel, I think you say it. I've been practicing, and Thomas Doherty. Mm.
You could
So
see his abs through his shirt.
you could just see
yeah. No,
everything.
just add.
So the film is about basically Evie's long lost cousin invites her to a swanky English wedding where she uncovers a dark and twisted family secret that threatens to upend her life. And it kind of like mixes horror, mystery, drama, a lot of tropes. And the film received generally mixed to negative reviews on release, with the critics praising Emmanuel's acting, but criticising the story, the screenplay, and the horror elements.
Wow.
But it, oh, no, I was like, ooh. But it grossed 38 million worldwide on a 10 million budget, so it still made its money. So there will be spoilers ahead for Invitation, the film, because I've had a few people say, "Is it the film of this book that we're doing for book club?"
Mm.
And I'm like, no, it's really very different. So yeah, it's nothing to do with the point horror book. Um, so I believe that the film was a first time watch for us all, and we'd all never seen it before. So did you know much about the film going into it, or what was your first impression, Josh?
Um, I don't think I knew that much about it. I'd seen it popping up on Netflix quite a few times. I think it leaves Netflix tomorrow, so if you want to watch
Yeah.
it, then tonight's your final chance. Um, yeah, I didn't know tons about it. I think I did see a poster of Nathalie Emmanuel wearing a wedding dress.
Yeah.
So that kind of slightly gave away the game,
Mm.
sadly. But yeah, for me, it kind of ended up being sort of like Ready or Not with vampires. but not
Yeah.
quite as good as that sounds,
Mm.
maybe. So yeah, it looked beautiful. I thought the imagery was absolutely stunning. It had huge atmosphere. But for me, it kind of slightly came apart towards the end.
Mm. Yeah, I get that as well. I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. How about you, Emma? Did you know much about it before you watched it, and what were your first impressions?
I knew absolutely nothing. I didn't look it up. I'd never seen it come up on Netflix, and I just was completely going in with my eyes closed. I had no idea what the movie was about, which I think is a good way to go into it. I think had I didn't think it mattered though, because it was so obvious what was going to happen all the way
Yeah.
through that I was just like, oh, and then this, and then this. And my husband was saying, someone he never guesses anything. And I was like, what? If you can guess it, then this is not good. But yeah, I thought, like Josh, I thought it was absolutely beautifully shot. I mean, the light, whoever was doing the lighting and the sets and the costumes was amazing, really, really good. And I really, really was enjoying it right up until one point, and then it fell off a cliff. So, and that was the dinner party where he made the announcement. That's where it fell off the cliff for me. And I was like, maybe Josh hung on a bit longer until further to the end, but that's I was like, oh no.
No.
So,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
it was
so
about the same point for me, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. But no, I thought it was, it had all the elements that everybody should like. So yeah, I thought it was lovely. It was pretty to watch, and the actors were great.
Yeah. And nice to look at. How about you, Kat? Did you know much about it going in?
No.
Oh, I knew absolutely nothing about it. I hadn't heard of it before, which I was quite surprised by, because when I read the description, that's the kind of thing that I would normally be like, yeah, I'm in. But no, I hadn't heard of it at all before. And, like Emma and Josh said, it was, gorgeous to look at. I will admit, though, I did have a little bit of a chuckle when we first saw the English countryman.
Yes. That's what I felt.
The house.
I was like, is it a manor house or is it cake? It was one of those like slightly too perfect things. But, yeah.
House or cake? House or cake?
No, I definitely I enjoyed it though. Yeah, it was a fun one to watch.
I did think that when they pulled up to that house, I was like, no, this is not
Oh.
Whitby. They said they were going to Whitby, didn't they? And I was like,
Whitby, Yorkshire. They had to keep saying Whitby, Yorkshire.
Yeah,
Okay.
very specific.
Do you know where the house actually was, Shelley? Do you know where it was? 'Cause
I'm not sure if it was like, I want to say, no, I'm not sure. I was going to say Budapest, but no, I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're right.
I was
Budapest.
right. Yeah. Oh, wow.
I did
Because
some
we were
research
both
into
like,
it.
that is not.
Yeah.
Not here.
The director, she said that she was taken around all these different houses in Hungary, and they were all beautiful and amazing. And then she saw this one, and she was like, "Oh, that's beautiful. Apparently, it's built in the English Tudor style." I'm not really sure if that's true. But I think the thing that clinched it for her was that it was built by the great great grandson of, and I've completely forgotten her name, but she's known as Countess Dracula, which is like a Hungarian countess who was supposedly sort of like the first female serial killer. And she allegedly used to bathe in the blood of young women. So I think
I didn't know about
that's,
that.
yeah, is
Yeah.
it Madame Bathory or
Yes,
something like that?
it is, yes.
Yeah.
I've never
Slave,
heard of that.
yeah.
Mm.
Why didn't she do a film of that?
I know.
That would have been so cool. I need to know more now. I'm going to look that up, definitely. So, yeah, I didn't know anything about the film. So I know I suggested the film, but it was literally just Elizabeth Bathory, Stargazer said.
Stargazer's got it.
Oh, wow. I'm going to look that up. Just remind me after, because I'm terrible with names. I'm going to forget that name, but yeah, remind me after. But yeah, so I know I suggested it, but it was literally just because, oh, there's a film called The Invitation, and we're doing a book called The Invitation. So I thought, yeah, I'll be funny and do it. But yeah, so I didn't know anything until when I was doing some like promo for the to like share about the chat. And so I was trying to find like a reel and that, and I watched something and it totally gave away the whole plot. And I was like, oh no. So I knew everything. So this is why I don't watch trailers. I try not to. They just give away. So the trailer for this film, if that was the correct trailer, basically gives away everything. It like tells you start to finish what happens. But yeah, so yeah, another reason why not to watch trailers. So yeah, so I did go into it thinking, yeah, I kind of know they're going to be vampires. I know that she's going to have to try and marry, and that he was going to be like Dracula. So it all gave it away, this trailer that I saw. So I ruined it for myself. Only got myself to blame.
Oh, darling, no.
Oh dear.
You'd have guessed it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all the Whitby references.
Yeah. I mean, she checks into her room in like around the 10-minute mark, and there's the mirror's gone. You're like, right, yeah, okay.
Suspicious.
Yeah.
Melina said, I got all excited about Whitby as it's my favourite place, and then it wasn't shown at all. Yeah, like not even like the Abbey or anything. No. Oh, Melina said her story is interesting, Elizabeth Bathory. Yes, I'm going to check that out, definitely. So the film was originally titled The Bride, and funny enough, that's another point horror title. But then it was changed to the title The Invitation. So did they make the right decision to change it, or what would you call the film, Kat?
I think it was the right decision. I think The Invitation worked because it was so like critical to the whole plot. The fact that she agreed to his proposal, so accepted that invitation to become his bride, and there was like no takebacks from that point. So yeah, I think it worked on that level. The Bride would have been a little bit like even more of a giveaway, I think.
I think so. How about you, Josh?
Yeah.
Did you like the name?
I really like it, actually, because even though they don't go into this at all in the film, I love that it plays into the idea if you have to invite a vampire into your home.
Yeah.
So that I liked that kind of like parallel as well. So
I didn't think of that.
The bride would have given it all away.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Emma? What would you called it instead if it wasn't?
No, I think I agree with Kat and Josh that The Invitation is a good name. The Bride would have given it completely away. Yeah, that would have been a dreadful name. But yeah, and I like the idea of finding like being invited by your family, you know, that you didn't know you had. I get invitations in the post from my extended family a lot to different gatherings, and of course I know them, but I always think, ew, what if I got an invitation one day from someone I didn't know? And then I would go into this whole, you know, because one of my dad's cousins does our family tree, and she keeps adding people to it, and she'll send me it. And I'm like, ooh, you know, because we all hail from Scotland, and so I often think of that and think, oh, what if you could just go into a room of all those people and just, and that's what it felt like, you know, meeting all these weird and wonderful people, not so wonderful in that case, but yeah, it would be pretty cool.
Because I thought they were going to play more into, like, you know, when she does the DNA test. So straight away, because I've seen a bit of the trailer, I thought that was going to come into play more, so that you know, they set up that whole website thing. This is where my mind goes wild. So they set up the whole website thing to try and find someone who was suitable for him to then lure them in. So whether that was the underlying thing, I don't know. But I was kind of hoping that they would play into that a little bit, but they didn't seem to mention it again once she'd done the little swap.
Yeah. I also got really confused by the scene when she finds the files, and there's a post-it note that says something like "No family, all dead" or something.
Yeah.
And I suddenly thought, oh, were they looking for like a Jane Doe, like someone that nobody's ever going to miss?
Yeah.
But then no, that wasn't Okay.
No, it was actually, did turn out she was like generations related, wasn't she, in the end? But I was like, oh, is this going to come into play a bit more? I just rewrote it in my head. So our leading lady, Evie, so did you like her character and the way that the actress portrayed her? Because I know that actress from when I used to watch Hollyoaks years ago. So it was a bit like, oh, okay. And obviously Game of Thrones as well, she was in. Yeah, so did you like the way that she portrayed Evie, Emma?
I like her as an actress. I think she's very versatile. I liked Evie. I thought Evie was believable. She didn't say anything that didn't seem part of her character. You know, as an American coming into this very posh British environment, I felt that was believable. Especially somebody who's, you know, an artist, who's working, you know, any jobs that she can to sort of survive until her art takes off. We can all relate to that. But yeah, she's pretty good, and I liked her decision. You know, her decision making seemed in line. It didn't seem out of the blue at all. I thought everything she did was believable. Yeah, I thought she was good.
Yeah. How about you, Josh? Did you like her?
I really liked her, and just purely by accident, I'm actually wearing her hat right now. You know, she's wearing like a yellow hat when she got to the plane.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I actually sent a picture to Andrina Cordiani because she also has this yellow hat. So it's like, we're trendsetters.
I'm sure I've got a hat
came out
that
2
colour
years
as
ago.
well. I'm sure I have. I have to find it out. Being the Yellow Hat Club.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked her.
Yeah,
I
you
thought
liked
she
her
was.
as well.
I really liked the way that the film plots all the very expected sort of traditional beats of getting to know basically like the final girl of the film. You know, you see her at work with her friend, then you get a bit of backstory, you get to see what she loves, you know, she does a bit of pottery, then you get the mum's voicemail, and those are sort of like such expected and necessary beats to bring you into a character, into a horror film. But I think they navigated it very effectively and very sensitively. And I think she played all of them basically perfectly. And I think she played a lot of her little moments, reactions, and observations. I think she played them really, really well. So you kind of adore her. Like, I really liked her. And you kind of feel like she got a bit hard done by after the dinner scene where she just had to sort of like run around a bit.
Yeah. Bit like.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. How about you, Kat? Did you like Evie?
I did. I thought, I thought that she played the part really, really well. I did like how, you know, she came into this it could have been a very overwhelming situation, but she stood her ground, especially when like Victoria started being really like snide to her when they first met. The only thing that I found a bit sus was when she first met Walter Deville. I think, though, it's because I had a different reaction to him than you did. I thought he was really greasy.
Oh, did you?
And I was like, yeah. My reaction would have been to back away from him. Yeah, I wasn't convinced by them having this like massive chemistry. I didn't feel that, but.
Yeah, interesting.
He would be a really good Joker because he just has that like terrifying smile.
Yeah.
But actually, so would Cousin Oliver. I mean, his face moves.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen anybody's face move.
Oh, was he in, you know, Cousin Oliver, was he in Mamma Mia too? I think it wasn't he. Have I made this up?
Oh.
You're asking the wrong crowd, Shelley.
Anyway, I'll look it up later. But yeah, I'm sure he was, right, because Oliver was the cousin, right? The English cousin, yeah. So I'm sure I just kept imagining him singing Waterloo. So I'm sure I haven't imagined this. I'm sure he was in Mamma Mia 2 or something.
I haven't seen it, so I can't comment. I don't know.
Random fact of
I've
the
only
chat.
seen the French and Saunders take of that. You know, the comic relief one that they did.
So good. Yeah, so I'm the same. I loved Evie, and I genuinely think she did so well at like making you believe that why she wanted to be there, like as well. Like you genuinely thought, well, actually, yeah, I can understand why she has gone along with this and gone to this stranger's home and stuff like that. And I like the way she did kind of like kick ass to start with, and like put people in their place when they needed to.
Yeah.
And I really liked her for that, and I kind of adored her a little bit, like you said, Josh. I was like, oh yeah, like we'd be
Sweet.
friends, yeah.
And there was a really nice little moment that was quite subtle, I think, at the very end when she's with her friend and she calls her sis. It was like a nice little resolution to
My
her
real
search
sister.
for family.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
it's quite nice.
Yeah, that's nice. A newfound family, like proper family, not vampire family.
Blood relative.
So it is gradually like drip fed to us that there's more to these characters at this stately mansion than what they seem. So we've touched on it a little bit earlier, but did you like the whole Dracula twist? So I think we might all be in agreement that after the dinner party, we didn't like the rest. So that was after the twist. So Josh?
I didn't mind the vampire thing. That wasn't really my issue. It was more the fact that it took so long to get to that moment at the dinner table that you kind of felt like you didn't need it anymore. It was sort of like you just accepted these guys were vampires and that was fine. You didn't need it to develop into this ridiculously overdramatic thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, the vampire thing itself was fine. And I think I didn't really understand. Like when I was researching the film, there was this sort of talking about how basically it's a story about the origin of one of Dracula's brides. And I did not get that, but I don't know if that's just because I'm not really a Dracula fan kid, you know.
Yeah.
So I think I think they sort of tiptoed the line a little bit too much, maybe in terms of the vampire stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't realise that either. Like that that went straight over my head if that's what it was meant to be.
Oh, good. It's not just me.
No, definitely not.
I didn't even know he was meant to be Dracula. I was like, who is this guy? Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
It's only very towards the end though that you kind of, I mean, you get like a feeling that they are vampires, don't you? Like all throughout, but then it's only really towards the end that I think you realise he's meant to be Dracula.
There's clues if you are a vampire buff. There's quite a few. What's that?
I don't know. Every now and again, it just happens. I can never get it to happen again. It's random.
Funny. But there was a lot of clues in naming of things, like the people in the later on though, the people in the cottage are Jonathan Harkins, is it?
Harker, yeah.
Harker. That's obviously from Dracula. And then the what's the name? Chris pointed it out. The name of the place is from Dracula as well. As soon as she arrived,
Carfax Abbey, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I think if you're a Dracula fan, you would have definitely guessed it. But if you're not, like Josh says, if you're not versed in it, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't get those little subtle clues.
Yeah,
it was Dracula related.
Yeah, and then obviously the character of Lucy as well is like. Lucy appears in Dracula.
Yeah.
I did laugh when they were like, it's the DeVille family. I was like, oh, all right, okay. That doesn't send warning signals.
Suspicious. How about you,
Josh? You knew it was the three sisters, though, right? You knew that's what was happening, that she was going to become one of the three sisters. Yeah,
definitely. And I loved Lucy and Victoria as characters as well. I thought they were brilliant. Just the way that they played those characters, I thought they were great. How about you, Kat? Did you like the whole Dracula twist?
I did. I mean, I saw it coming. I recognised the Jonathan and Mina Harker characters from reading Dracula a million years ago. and Lucy. I went and Googled to see if Victoria was also the name of a character in the book, and I couldn't find it.
No.
So I don't think she was. So yeah, I was kind of thrown off by that a bit. I was like, oh, it doesn't like mirror it that closely then. But yeah, I liked that it was supposed to be Dracula. It was nice to be right.
Oh yeah, that was good. And Melina's put lots of nods to Dracula throughout the film. Yeah, and
there's over 100 nods. The director.
100?
There's 100.
I didn't get that many.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we're just gonna have to rewatch it now, aren't we, Josh? Quick before it goes off Netflix.
Yeah. I was going to say record it. You can't record it off Netflix.
Oh, Melina said that she didn't like the old Mina Harker. She didn't ring true for me. Yeah, it was a bit random, like that whole scene. Like, I mean, you just know that she's like running into danger as well, and I think they did her dirty in that scene as well. Like, she's got more sense than that to fall for the fact that you know they're going to be under their control, kind of thing. I just felt like, oh, you did her character dirty there. She wouldn't do that. It didn't ring true to me. Yeah. Melina said, I realised by the name Carfax that it was Dracula related.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Stargazer said, I wonder if Victoria was a nod to Queen Victoria since the novel took place in Victorian England. Oh, yeah, maybe. Could have been. Or they just thought we need an extra character. What can we call her? Victoria.
Well, she meant to be the Hungarian one.
Yeah.
Victoria, quite a Hungarian name as well.
Yeah, that's my middle name as well.
Oh.
yeah. Victoria.
That's very harsh.
But yeah, I as soon as it got to that dinner party, I was hooked up until that point, and it just lost me then, to the point that, and you're all going to laugh at me, but to the point that I didn't really understand like the end. Like, we'll get to it in a bit, but like the end, I was like, I didn't make like I was like, what? I don't. And so it just completely lost me a little bit, and then I was like, well, how many times is this Dracula going to come back to life until she puts him in the fire and stuff? So yeah, it just lost me a bit after that dinner party. I was like, they could have done something different, I think, other than what they went with. I don't quite know what, but
they did use him very well. I think he could have been really good at putting her under his thrall, because that's what Dracula does. He puts them under his thrall, and then they accept their fate. They're like, they want to be bitten by him. And it didn't happen that way. So that's what threw the Dracula out the window for me, because Dracula is that kind of character that mesmerizes you, and you almost want to be whatever he wants you to be. And so that's what I think was missing. I was waiting for that. I was like, oh, she's gonna accept that she needs to become a bloodsucker. She has to, because she's just so obsessed by him. None of that. I was like, oh.
Yeah. No, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think that's what it was, because like Dracula to me is like like an idol. Like, he's
like,
yeah, exactly. So anything he does goes, and he didn't come across like that. He wasn't as scary or not controlling, but you know what I mean. Like, you're hypnotized by him. It didn't come across like that.
To see his teeth, and he needed to, bite her, before or do something like that, and she's confused and doesn't know what to do, because here we are, this handsome gentleman who's rich, and he's a vampire, and I can't sort of do this. It's immoral, but he's so hot and that it didn't really work.
Yeah. He had good nails, though, I have to admit. Oh, Speed Raychick said Victoria with a K, was it? Maybe.
It was.
it? Oh, Kat said it was, yeah. Okay.
Wow. There we go.
Yeah.
Actually, talking about the nails, what was he doing when he was like scuttling around her room and like scaring her, like putting his hand through the the
Oh, that
shit
was
on top of the
Victoria.
bends.
I think
Yeah.
that ended up
That was
being
that
Victoria. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was just doing it
Uh,
to play with her, basically, because she pissed her off.
I
Say
see.
But then
Talking
why
about
did he
the
Yeah.
drag her
nails,
out by
though.
the ankle?
that again, Emma.
Didn't he drag her out by the ankle from under the bed? Was
Mm.
that right?
Oh,
He did, and I thought that's a bit rude.
oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
he did.
going on to it. He's like dragging her out by the ankle.
We've all been there.
Have we?
It's just
Just me then. Oh, oh dear. Yeah, so I think that was Victoria who did the scaring in the room, but then the other ones with the maids, I presume, was him.
Right.
I'm guessing. But that's why
and
I think, like,
what
say
were the
again.
numbers for the maid that was never explained? Did any of you get that?
Oh
One, two, three,
yeah.
four, five.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Was it just
Well,
What
because
was that?
it was numbers on the bells, wasn't it?
Ah.
But it was never
Yeah,
like anything
I
more than that. I
they
don't
I
had
think.
took it.
numbers on their
I took
tops, didn't
it.
they?
It was
Hmm.
like to dehumanize them, because Evie uses their names,
Mm.
but no one else seemed to. So I presumed it was
Hmm.
just like an authority thing,
Okay,
maybe just
yeah,
to,
that works.
Messed up rich
yeah,
thing.
they're just a number, kind of thing. Yeah, and Melina said numbers to
There you
dehumanize.
go.
Ah,
Mm.
okay.
Yeah, I'm guessing. But I would have loved to seen more story about Victoria and Lucy rather than what we
Yeah.
got, I'll be honest, because I thought they were really intriguing characters. I wanted more. So the film uses like tension really well, I thought. And it's quite a slow burn, like as we say, until we get all the way to that, ending. So did the use of tension in some of the scenes work for you, Kat?
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, it held you gripped. Definitely did keep me watching quite avidly. I was not scrolling on my phone or anything. Up until the big cheesy speech scene at the dinner party. So yeah, I think they used tension pretty well up to that point, but as you say,
Yeah.
it fell off there.
Yeah. How about you, Josh? Did you like the way they used that along with the lighting and
Yeah,
things like that?
yeah. The spa scene was probably my favorite scene.
Oh, yeah.
I thought the editing in that was brilliant. The way they kept cutting between the nails being done,
Mm,
and how like there's a great thing in Stephen Graham Jones's book, I Was a Teenage Slasher, which is about how like when the slasher picks up a knife, it goes shring, but when everyone else picks up a knife, it doesn't make a noise.
Ah.
And they kind of do that in this, where it's like if this is dangerous and something bad's going to happen,
Mm,
then things make noises, like the nail clippers make noises
yeah.
that are louder than they
Mm.
should be.
Yeah.
So kind of waiting for her to get stabbed or have get a nail ripped out or something. And they
Yeah.
just added like a whole layer to that scene, which was really
Yeah.
well done.
Yeah, that is so true, because during that scene I was like literally like, oh no, because like nails and things like that, I'm like, oh. So I was literally like looking through my hands, because it was just really did build up the tension. I was like, oh no, something bad's gonna happen. I can't deal with like broken, like nails coming off or something. How about how about you, Emma? Did you like all the tension scenes?
I did like them. I thought they built the tension well. Obviously, I knew that she was going to suck her finger. I knew her finger was going to bleed, and I knew that Victoria was going to suck her finger. It
Yes.
was just completely set up for that. So, because at that point, I knew they were the three sisters, or were going to be the three sisters. So I was like, how are they? But I kind of wished they'd have also worked their magic on her, because the sisters have their own spell they can put on people.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted them to say, because Lucy was so infatuated with her, and the thought of having a third sister, because
Yeah.
Victoria was only awful to her. I kind of wish that they'd have been more like, come on, you want to be our sister, you know. But that didn't happen.
It was quite
Yeah.
restrained, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
mean, Lucy and Evie, they did have like a chemistry there, but yeah, I would have liked them to be a little bit more, come into the circle.
Yeah. like it was just missing that. Yeah, I agree on that. It was just missing something, and that's
Mm.
probably what it was. So, did you have a favourite scene, Emma?
Um, yeah, I did. I did actually. I liked it when Lucy decided that she was taking control of the situation. Like,
Yeah.
screw Victoria. I've had enough of you. I've had enough of this. Actually, I'm actually deep down, I'm a good person, and so screw it. We're doing this. You're dust.
Yeah. That was a cool scene. That was. I
I
have
did
to
like it.
admit.
Yeah,
Yeah, sacrificing herself. Oh, love
exactly.
that. Did you have a good? Did you have a good scene? Did you
Have a
have a
good day.
favourite scene, Kat?
Yeah, I think that was actually my favourite as well, although I was watching
Oh,
it thinking, if I was a vampire, I don't think I would have like 3 foot long arrows sticking out of my
yeah,
sculptures,
it was a bit
just at
random.
heart height. And even though the two vampires, Lucy and Victoria, were different heights, still managed to get them both in the heart. I was
Yeah.
like, but the way it was done, it looked gorgeous. I loved seeing how the cracks kind of like went up the skin, and yeah, I thought it was a nice
Yeah.
visual. And I did like that Lucy was kind of like, taking back her power from Victoria.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. See, we needed more story of them. Like, we needed it. How about you, Josh? Did you have a favourite scene?
I think the spa bit probably was my favourite.
Yeah.
Um, and actually, because the climax was just such a sort of like a hodgepodge, I actually quite liked the little coda on the end when it was the two friends back together.
Yeah.
Um, so
Okay.
maybe that was like my second favourite bit.
Ah. And I've written down for something. I've just put bedroom scene on my notes. So I don't think I mean
Should have
like the
known.
sexy times. No, I think I meant the I think I meant the Victoria scene, because I just thought that was so well done. Like the tension in the scene, and like
Live
like the hand, the hands on top of the the white sheet thing over the bed, and I thought that was done really well, because like you would be scared, like definitely if you saw that like through that. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
get
yeah.
out.
So yeah, I think for me, and the spa scene was just great as well. Love that. Speed Rating said the nail bit reminded me of Black Swan. Oh, I've never seen Black Swan. Oh, okay.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, I'll have to check.
Can't remember what happened.
Melina said, yes, I love Lucy taking control. Yes.
We love
Speed
Lucy.
Rating said, we love Lucy. Speed Rating said, yeah, I saw that on the sculpture and thought that was silly. Yes. Melina said, in Dracula, Lucy just doesn't have agency, so I love that she got her moment in this film. Oh, wow. Yeah, I love that. So there's like, when I was reading things online, because I really struggled putting some questions together for this one, because I couldn't quite make up my mind like what I thought about the film after I saw it. So I was like looking around, reading like some reviews and things like that, just to try and make up my mind on it. And everyone kept saying about the exploration of grief in the film, that because obviously Evie has lost her mom to cancer and looking to fill the gap with like the new family. So do you like films that use like an elevated horror, I guess, which is like hinted at, but it's not the main focus? I don't know whether that's a good question or not, but Josh.
I think the film did try to say something about grief, and it tried to say something about the marginalized sort of experience. You know,
Yeah.
she's a black girl, and she's been thrown into this sort of like all white environment. So it does try to sort of talk about those themes, but I didn't feel
Yeah.
like it ever really fully went, head first into them. I think it might have been a more interesting film if it had done that.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
yeah.
How about you, Emma? Did you like that aspect?
I agree with what Josh says, and I think grief is different for everyone, and he obviously was saying he was an orphan, and that's when we didn't really know whether or not he was the Drac or not.
Yeah.
Well, he is, because he's hundreds of years old, but his grief and her grief will look different, and I think that's an interesting thing that could have played out a bit more. Like his grief with all that money, is it the same, or is it going to look different, or is he better equipped to handle because he can just carry on with his life, whereas she's struggling with no parents, or no parents that can, if she had an overdue notice on her fridge and she's got no parent to kind of say, here love, have some money until you got some more work, or until things get better. She's got no one to help her at all. So it does touch on class a little bit, which I think people don't talk about often enough. Class is major in the UK. So I felt that, and I felt that going into the snake pit. I felt that feeling myself before as a working class person looking into a place where there's a lot of rich people. You're kind of like, I'm the giraffe in the room, and everybody knows it. And they can't work me out at all. And so I thought that was interesting, and I would have liked, like Josh, I would have liked that explored more. Her grief and what it was to not have a parents, and to come over to this guy who's got all this money and could solve all her problems potentially. We just made loads more.
Oh, how about you, Kat? Did you think that they explored it well, or they could have done more with that?
I definitely think that they could have done more, but I did like that they used grief as kind of a way to bond Evie with some of the characters. Like Malina said that when she was talking with, is it Mrs. Swift, the tearful maid, who was grieving her friend who just died. Also with Evie and Lucy, Lucy was also grieving the sister who died. And Victoria and Dracula didn't seem that bothered about the bride who, just died not that long ago.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that they were having to replace her. But it seemed kind of a bonding thing between Evie and other characters that, maybe she could relate to that because she was grieving herself. So I did like that. And I do generally like those sorts of themes sort of simmering away in a horror film. Like one of my favourites is The Babadook, with how that deals with depression and things like that. I thought that was a clever film, which you could look at, the different levels. This one didn't do that, but it had little hints at, where it could have gone deeper.
Well, that's exactly what I thought. So when I was reading and they were saying about this exploration of grief and things, and I thought, well, to me, like The Babadook did that so well that it didn't have the same feeling in this film at all as to how they dealt with it in that film. So I was like, I didn't pick up. Obviously, I knew about the mom and stuff, but I didn't pick that up further into the film. I kind of forgot about it a little bit. So I was quite surprised that people were like really honing in on reviews on this, and I was like, never thought about that. Melina said the sharing of grief between Evie and the lady's maid. Yes, the lady's maid. Oh, bless her.
Oh, poor love.
She was lovely. Speedway Chick said defo do Black Swan as a movie chat. Oh, okay. Stargazer said yes, it's been years since I've seen Black Swan 2 and I own it. Oh, okay. I'll have to have a look at that. So on release, a lot of critics said despite being a very likeable lead and refreshingly light touch, The Invitation is ultimately too predictable to thrill as either a romance or a horror story. So do you agree with this, Emma?
Yeah, 100%. It didn't do either of those things particularly well. It almost did. It was so close, and no cigar. So I totally agree with that.
How about you, Josh?
Yeah, I kind of do agree with that. I think it's weird though, because it's not a short film. It's like an hour 45, and it does sort of like take its time to develop the relationships, and there are scenes that are sort of very much relationship driven, romance driven, and there are scenes like horror set pieces as well that are very much like isolated horror set pieces. So that it's all in there, but for some reason it just never really quite comes together.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't know quite what it wants to be apart from Dracula.
I do.
Ish.
Well, I think like it did keep kind of going away from whenever it went away from Evie. I found my attention kind of strayed, and I was like, "Well, they're going to die. Whatever. I don't care." Blah blah blah. You just wanted to see. You wanted to see what was going to happen with Evie.
Yeah. I
And
think
like
she could have been put through the ringer a bit more, a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
The director and Nathalie Emmanuel, they talked a lot in the interviews about how they wanted this to be like a very female horror film, and like a feminist twist on vampires and stuff. And I think it's interesting that I think Emma was talking about how Dracula doesn't do what you expect Dracula to do, because that would have robbed Evie of all agency, you imagine, and all kind of sense of female empowerment, I guess. It would be a very difficult balance to kind of to have. So I wonder if they just really struggled with the limitations of the genre and what they were trying to achieve in terms of twisting tropes and stuff.
Yeah, but then I guess they didn't have to make him Dracula.
Yes.
It could have just been a very rich old vampire. They didn't have to go down the Dracula route. Maybe.
Could have made the sisters have more of a, you know, even be higher than him. Like he's the Dracula, but they've got the feminist agency. They're the ones pulling the strings. If they wanted to do that, they could have made them in charge, and he was their puppet. And they were trying to draw this extra sister in using him.
Yeah, that would have been so
much
good.
better.
Yes.
They were kind of doing it a little bit with the spa scene and stuff, so you wouldn't have taken much of a rewrite.
No.
Yeah, that would have been so good.
Emma needs to be hired as a script consultant, I'm telling you. All of your ideas.
Call Emma. Oh, and how about you, Kat? Do you think it was like too predictable to thrill as either a romance or a horror?
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised that it was supposed to be a romance. I didn't get that from it. I mean, I know that there is that relationship between them, but from the point that she discovers he's a vampire, with 2 wives already, by the way, she's not heartbroken by that, is she? No. She's not like, oh, my love, you know, I have fallen in love with the wrong man here. It was just like, I'm scared because he's a vampire, understandably.
Yeah.
But there was no romance element from that point. There was, you know, I think probably it goes back to what we were saying before about vampires or Dracula not being seductive in this film. You know, he's not seducing Evie into the role and convincing her that she wants to be his bride. That's all bypassed. They sleep together. He kind of tricks her into agreeing to marry him. Yeah. And that's it. You said you will, so I'm going to turn off the charm now. I don't need to be seductive in any way. I'm just going to be creepy and, you know, that's it.
Get my nails out and my teeth.
I have to say, with the nails thing, at the end where Victoria comes over to Evie and she's like, you know, if he was dead, I couldn't do this. And she sticks her nails into Evie's chest, like just the nails. I'm like, yeah, what have you done there? You know, she's not like ripped her heart out or anything. It's just like, just broken the skin. I was like,
just going to leave my hand here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, kind of a weird one for me, though.
I was like, the cat makes more puncture wounds.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it worked up to a point as a thriller. It got a little bit too ridiculous for me to work as a thriller to the end. So, yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you all. I was like, oh, I'm not entirely sure, like, what it's meant to be other than a Dracula retelling of sorts. So yeah, I agree. So I did read another review that said The Invitation has one of the best final shots of a movie. It's painfully simple, but the implications are grand. So what did you think of the
Who
final shot? Because
who wrote that?
I don't know. I'll find it and I'll put it up. But apparently that's what it says,
Josh is
unless they
going
were
to
being
slap them.
sarcastic.
Was it theinvitation.com?
But what did you think of that final end shot? Because they had to go back. I think they recorded that like later on, and that's why her hair's shorter and stuff. So Josh, because I was like, I didn't really get it.
You were.
I think it's probably giving them a bit too much credit, to be honest. I don't know. What are they saying? Is it sort of because I don't know?
Yeah, so that
It's like a
kind of
vampire slayer type
yeah, that's
thing,
what I
or-
was thinking. Like, are they implying that now she's gonna go do vampire slaying like Buffy,
Yeah.
or and like a
I would watch
first
those
victim?
two doing that.
Yeah,
Maybe
I would.
okay. Maybe I
Yeah.
agree. I agree that yes, that shot was fantastic, and I need to see what the ramifications of that shot are.
Definitely.
Years
Oh.
later.
How about you, Kat? What did you think of that very end shot?
So I might have completely misunderstood one element of this film. You can correct me here. I thought Dracula and the two brides plus then Evie when she gets turned into a vampire, that was the sum total of actual vampires. The rest were just like your Renfield hangers on. So I was like, at the end, they're going to beat up somebody with a baseball bat who isn't a vampire.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really sure how that was going to
I'm with you,
improve
Kat.
anything.
I am with you, because I was like, I like the empowerment of the message, but I was a bit like, why him?
Yeah, and I think she probably would have got into quite a lot of trouble for that. Really.
Yeah. Not sure. How about you, Emma? What did you think?
Exactly the same as Kat, because I was like, hang on a minute. She said vampire bat, and she's holding up a bat, and I'm like, that's not a vampire. So you're not going to smash the vampire bat with your bat because he's a human, and you're going to crack his skull open and then go to prison. That's what's going to happen. So I was like, and why didn't she inherit everything? Didn't everybody burn? I thought everybody burned up in the fire. So I'm like, yay, we're going to see her inherit everything with her sister. They don't have to go back to the restaurant. She can have her art studio open. That was the ending I was looking for. The property that she's selling with her girl, helping her out, and and I was like, everyone's burned up, so she's the only living relative left. Great. No, what the hell was that?
Oh. Yeah, that's the ending I would have liked.
But hang on, she's not actually a relative of Dracula, is she?
Oh yeah,
no, that's true. Yeah, she's not a relative of Dracula.
so.
But they're all rich anyway. Aren't they the dudes that with Dracula?
But they didn't die.
No.
Oh, they didn't die in fire. That's a shame.
Maybe that's why she's going to get them with the baseball bat, so she can inherit it from them.
Yeah, but then at least it would have made sense. Yeah. So Speedway Chicks just said, so how many people were actually vampires? Only 3. And Oliver wasn't a vampire, so what was
when they all drinking blood at the feast, that party? Was it just
they only gave the blood to the vampires?
It was confusing, Josh, because they all started eating like ravenous pigs, didn't they? But they weren't vampires. I'm like, what are they doing?
Yeah. Bit confusing. Weird. So I'm glad it wasn't just me who thought about the end. And I was like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand.
No.
Yeah. Speedway Chick said as well, for me, Evie was a strong, independent woman from the start, and Walt didn't change that, which I loved. Yeah, she stayed consistent. So maybe that's what it was meant to show, the ending, that she was still not changed by all these events and just wanted to kick ass. Yeah. Melina said the non-vampires had white wine at the meal. Oh. Very sophisticated.
I'd rather drink blood than white wine.
Whoa. So they did have an alternate ending which they didn't film. So I'll tell you what it was, and you tell me if this would have been better. So apparently there was two endings, the one that was filmed, the one that wasn't. So the unfilmed ending would have had Evie keep her vampire powers, and despite killing Walter / Dracula and going out into the world to hunt other vampires. So the film ending would have had Dracula. So it wouldn't have had her going to hunt other vampires. It would have had Dracula survive the fire at the New Carfax and return by ship to Romania, killing the crew and passengers on the way in order to survive. So in the alternate ending, he would have lived. So how do we feel about that, Josh?
Don't care. It's not his story. It's Evie's story.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have needed to see that even remotely.
Yeah. How about you, Kat? Would you have
Yeah.
liked that?
Well, that whole scenario with Dracula going on the ship and killing all the crew is a nod back to the original book again, I think. I can't remember where exactly it takes place. It's the beginning or the end. I forget.
Yeah.
But I can see why they would consider that, but I'm glad they didn't. I don't think that would have been a better ending. Not that the one that they went with was great, but no, that wouldn't have been a better ending.
I've just realised in my notes, right, I did, because I butchered it when I read it out, but I wrote, despite killing Walter and going out into the world to hunt other vampires. So that's the ending they filmed. So that's what they're saying that ending was. But then Oliver wasn't a vampire. Yeah, plot hole. Emma, would you have liked Walt to have lived?
Yeah, actually, I would like to have seen him crawl on his belly back to Romania, messed up like the stat when he was thrown to the alligators, you know? I think I would have quite liked him simpering and crawling along. But I wouldn't have, like Kat and Josh, wouldn't have liked it just to end with him, because like you say, it's not his story, it is Evie's story. So it would have had to be, I would have liked to have seen her go, I'm going to catch him. He's gone, I'm going to get him. I've got the powers still because he's still alive. I haven't finished my job. So I'd have liked her to get her friend, and her friend would have been like, ah, because she's all vampiric and everything, and go get him. But he wouldn't have needed to go on the night ship because they made that twist that vampires can go out during the day to try and trick us into not vampires. And I said, I know they're out in the day, but I think it's vampires. You know? So I didn't like that twist. I like the fact, I didn't think that was a fresh take on vampires at all. I like the fact that they can't go out in the sunlight. I didn't like that, or I didn't think it added anything. Like, there's misconceptions to our kind, and I'm thinking, yeah, okay, you could do that if it's interesting, but that wasn't interesting. You made it less interesting.
Yeah. And apparently, I don't know whether they did film that ending or not, but apparently test audiences hated that ending. They didn't like it. Yeah. So I think perhaps they did film it because that's why then they had to refilm that other ending. That's why she looked a bit different.
Yeah, and it didn't quite go, did it? It didn't feel like it was part of the rest of the film.
No,
it did.
It felt totally separate. Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was just like her breakup hair, you know, the traditional get your hair cut after you break up, a bad breakup. Yeah.
The shorter the hair, the worse the breakup.
Yeah.
Melina said, the ship would have been a nod to arriving in Whitby, but totally wouldn't have worked. And
just left Whitby.
Yeah.
Whitby.
Melina said, Emma, I always love your alternative endings. Stargazer said, I think the Dracula in the novel was able to go out in the sunlight. He was just weaker. Oh, okay. So talking about Dracula, have you got any favourite Dracula retellings or any favourite vampire films maybe that you could recommend, Kat?
Well, my good friend Dawn Kurtagich has just brought out a book called The Madness, which is kind of a retelling of Dracula set in North Wales. That is absolutely spot on, brilliant, gothic. everything that you could want to read at this time of year and any time of year, basically.
And it's got amazing cover art as well. Oh, it's like chef's kiss.
Gorgeous.
Oh, how about you, Emma? Any recommendations?
I liked the episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer when Dracula came into it. That is everything Dracula is supposed to be. And Buffy still remained, even though she was under his thrall for a little bit of it, she still remained strong and defeated him. So that's cool. And one vampire movie that I think is completely underrated and never really spoken about with the rest of the popular ones like Lost Boys and Interview with the Vampire and Blade and things like that is Vamp. Vamp is a fantastic.
I've never seen that.
That is a matriarchy because Grace Jones is the head vampire, and I've not really seen anywhere else where the female is the head vampire. So if you want something feminist where the female vampire is a badass, go for that. Vamp.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen that. I don't know why.
Shelley, watch it. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Josh? Any recommendations?
I love Monster Squad, which is a
Monster
1918s
Squad.
film that has Dracula in it, and he does turn into bats and all that kind of stuff, which is great. And I love Let the Right One In, the Swedish film. It's just
I don't know
haunting. Oh, it's so good, but so sad. Brilliant.
Yeah, I haven't seen that for years, but I remember watching that and it is a good film, that. I have to give a shout out as well to Amy's book that's coming out next year, Amy McCall, which is a Dracula retelling set in the 80s. So look out for that.
We Own the Night.
We Own the Night. Yeah, they own the night. But yes, she just did the cover reveal at Yelp yesterday, so go and check that out. Excited for that. And obviously shout out to Dawn's brilliant, The Madness as well. Melina said the madness is brilliant.
Awesome.
Yeah. And Melina said, Emma, I love that episode of Buffy.
It's a good one.
And Stargazer said, Let the Right One In is fantastic, the Swedish version anyway. Definitely.
Really good.
So overall then, what did you think of the film? Would you recommend it to people? Would you just be like, no, give it a miss? Josh?
I think it is worth watching because it is beautiful and it's got a great performance. Nathalie Emmanuel is amazing.
Yeah, she
So if you're feeling like you just want to watch something easy that won't be super demanding, then check it out.
Yeah. How about you, Kat? Would you recommend or Steve?
Yeah, I think I probably would recommend, but with the caveat that it is ridiculous. So
yeah.
And how about you, Emma?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with both those comments. I would probably say to them like, I really enjoyed it up until a point, and could you, it's a good like, where's Wally, if you like, where's the Dracula references? Every time you find one, drink a shot. I don't know.
Well, apparently Josh thought there was 100 shots. We'll love it then. We'll be like, yeah, that ending was cool. Oh dear. But I'm on the fence with it. Like, I just still can't make up my mind. Like, I wasn't bored by any means, but it did just lose me at the end. But I just can't make up my mind where I sit with it. Like, but I'm just not sure. I still can't. Normally, once I've chatted about it, like with you guys, like normally I'm like, yeah, I liked it, or yeah, I didn't. But I just can't, like, I can't put my finger on it quite. Why I can't make up my mind, but perhaps I need to watch it again. I'll do the shot thing that Emma suggested, and then I'll let you know. But thanks, guys. Thanks. I really liked that we all hadn't seen this film as well. It doesn't happen very often that we all haven't seen it, so I was really intrigued to see what you all thought. But thanks for chatting.
We watched. Is this one of the most recent films we've watched? in a while, I think.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, because we've been going
An
for
old
the
one.
Few
older
older
ones,
stuff.
haven't we? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it is.
shaking it up.
Oh, yeah, keeping it fresh.
Yeah.
But do check out the brilliant Josh's Burn the Negative and Heads Will Roll, which has been released. Whoop, whoop. And also, oh God, I've only got... I haven't got enough hands for all these books. And our special guest, Kat, with Harrow Lake, and
Love
Wicked
her.
Little Deeds,
Thank
and
you.
loads of other books that I thought if I get them all out, I'm going to be here forever. And do check out the wonderful Emma. Emma's got some brilliant short stories in these twisted books, perfect as well for like Christmas time. They'll terrify you. Sleep with one eye open. And thanks for everyone in the comments as well. And we will see you next month for, I don't know what we're going to do yet, but we'll figure it out. Christmas horror. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.